Okay. Hello, everyone. Hello, viewers. My name is Sidney Winston. I am an atheist activist out of Vancouver, Canada. You know the name, not Otangelo? Do you not? Are you familiar with the name Otangelo? Let me go and see who's around and say hi. And recognition is important, isn't it? Cryptomeria and Mika, good day. Oh, we're about to lose Mika on his way to work. You know why you're going to work, Mika? For the taxman, yes. So, anyway, Otangelo. So, yeah, I was kind of listening to this back and forth debate between Otangelo and J.L. Warren, and I got quite far into it. Let's see, I got probably around 45 minutes from the end, okay? And I listened to the game back and forth, and listen, J.L. Warren was streaming stuff that was, honestly, you know, he was saying things that totally made perfect sense, right? Otangelo, on the other hand, kept on going to the probabilities of no God, for example, are so small that it's God. That's it. Every time he in the very beginning, he put in this long, rambling slideshow, which I won't put you through, but this long, rambling slideshow with bullshit nonsense from the 1850s. You know, everybody stops at 1857 science. Darwin discovers natural selection. Science research stops for Christians. That's it. End of that. They're dumb. Absolutely dumb. Anyway, Otangelo offered some really shitty arguments, and JL's pretty much been tearing into pieces. So I thought I'd share with you this lovely piece of YouTube action. This is a review, open conversation room. As you can tell, there's links. The video that we're watching is being streamed through the room, through the chat room, through the conversation room. So if you do join, you'll be able to hear it. If you do join, please mute the YouTube source of the audio. Otherwise, you'll be hearing it twice with a delay in between. What else is there? I don't think there's anything else. Let's just sort of head over there and listen to. Let's just sort of start. Just start right here.
The verboseness of that syllogism, it might be difficult to get a succinct and clear understanding of what you are trying to say with it.
You can hear?
Yeah, you can put the link to what I have collected in regards of that topic in the side chat, so people can read it again later on.
Well, you facetiously told me to go and collect my Nobel, but what I told you, what I stated about the connection between the mind and the brain is not controversial. I assume that you have read the case of Phineas Gage?
No.
You're familiar with this?
No.
How much of a background do you have in neurophysiology? Like understanding the concepts between molecular ions and how they help to activate the mind in the brain? Familiar with this?
No.
Okay, so I'll put it quite simply. I've done quite a strong amount of research into neurophysiology because the brain is very interesting. The brain is a very interesting organ, and there's a lot about it we're still figuring out because the brain is like a computer that organically wires itself as you develop and learn things. So nobody is exactly the same, but there's certain fundamental functions of the brain that do remain the same. like the effects of serotonin, the effects of dopamine, how the brain is laid out within the case and everything. So we only have to look at the case of there's other cases like it, but the case of Phineas Gage is very, very simple. Phineas Gage, and the year escapes me, was a railroad worker that had a railroad spike due to I believe it was a natural gas explosion, or maybe a steam valve explosion. Had a railroad spike shoot through his head and pierce his temporal lobe. So before the accident, and when he survived, so before the accident, Phineas was a very congenial person. He was upbeat, he was optimistic, he was friendly, he was kind to everybody. Everybody liked him. But his brain was damaged through his temporal region, and it damaged the area of I believe it damaged the hippocampus and somewhere else. But effectively, it damaged the area of his brain that dictated his personality. And when Phineas came out of the coma that he was in, when they removed the spike and he survived, Phineas was not Phineas anymore. Still Phineas Gage, still remembered who he was. But the fundamental nature of the human being altered completely, irrevocably, forever. Phineas was now angry. He was pissed off all the time. He used foul words that he'd never used before. He was irritable. He was prone to outbursts. And typically he became an all-around asshole that nobody really liked to be around. So, but all of everything, his memory, everything about him was pretty much intact, except for the scope of who he was. So we know that by altering the brain in very finite or very small or very large ways, we can fundamentally alter who a human being is. Literally with a slight twist in your neurophysiology, you can be made to believe that you are another gender, or that you are sexually obsessed with feet or trees. Okay? It's very, neurophysiology, there's a lot we do understand. And we do know that by tweaking the brain, changing it, or destroying it, the consciousness or the mind goes with it. Or if you limit its capacity to do what it does to activate the mind, then we can actually reduce the ability that the mind has. People lose cognitive function all the time, especially with Alzheimer's or dementia. This is where the mind begins to go, where memories begin to fragment, where the ability for the proteins that block the brain's ability to actually function normally. And we see that. We can test it. We can observe it. We can make predictive modeling with it. We can actually say, you have this stage of Alzheimer's. You most likely have, if the trend continues, you probably have 6 months or maybe up to a year. So there is predictive modeling regarding the brain. We understand degenerative function of the brain. There's over 100 years of study that's gone into this. So no, simply saying that you proved dualism, because I noticed that went to your board, the CATS board. So simply saying that you proved dualism, you should be the one collecting your Nobel, because there is no evidence to support that.
All right. If anybody's collecting a Nobel, it's going to be me. We all know this.
Oh, of course, John.
Can I take the answer to that?
Take about 10, 15 seconds.
No. First of all, I've not claimed that I solved the problem. It is just what I believe, that dualism is true. But
no, you claimed it was true, flat out.
All right, let him finish.
I would like to quote here Marco Biagini. He wrote in astronomy.net, scientific proof of God's existence. Science has in fact proved that all chemical, biological, and cerebral processes consist only in some successions of elementary physical processes determined in their turn only by the laws of quantum mechanics. Such a view of biological processes does not allow to account for the existence of consciousness, which existence implies then the presence in man of an unphysical element. Now, in regards of your example that people changed the way they behaved, I see the mind to the brain in the similar sense as the pianist to the piano. And of course, if you damage the piano, then the pianist cannot play a melody or whatever on the piano as previously.
Okay. Let's go on to this. We have just a couple more questions, and then we can go to the next section. What is a logical contradiction inherent in an appeal to an infinite regress?
None. There is none. There literally is nothing wrong with an infinite regress. It very well could be the possibility. It's simply an infinite regress of universes, because there's nothing wrong with that. God merely caps our knowledge and says, no, this is a better answer.
Well, I disagree. It is not a problem of a logical contradiction. It is a problem that physically an eternal regress is simply not possible. And there are several reasons that we can substantiate that. But one is, I think Stephen Meyer put that nicely, illustrated it in the Return of the God hypothesis. He said, if the past is infinitely old, then getting from the past to the present would be like trying to climb to the surface of the earth from a hole infinitely deep, from a bottomless pit. As one contemporary philosopher has characterized the problem, one could get no foothold in an infinite temporal series to even get started. For to get to any point, one already has to have crossed infinity.
Yeah, but the problem is that the very first statement, the very first line that you read there is if the universe is infinitely old, which no one claims that it is.
Well, if it's
because this universe, this universe itself, no one claims it's infinitely old. We know the age of it.
Well, if it had a beginning, it had a cause, and it makes.
Well, that's if it had a beginning, which no one says that it did.
Okay, let's let him get his thought out.
No one makes these claims, Otangelo. You're saying if these are hypotheticals. These are hypotheticals that that don't exist in physics.
Oh, you can make a thought experiment, and you cannot come to the present moment in time starting from an infinity in the past.
Sure you can. It's just a cyclical universe. It just begins again and again and again and again. All we know is that the potential for work is there. The energy is always there. The Big Bang is merely an event. We don't know what came before it, but that's okay. We're not going to assume that it's God because it makes things easier for us or assuages some fear we have about the afterlife or other questions. God merely complicates things. What we say is there's a question mark. And then eventually, like I said, like you misquoted me, we have top minds working on it. There are top minds better than we are who are investigating this stuff. And eventually we will get past it because God exists in the spaces, the ever narrowing spaces of our understanding of.
Yeah, I just want to. You can't see it right now because of because when I stopped the video, it sort of got blurred. But Leophilius, he just wrote there. The universe may have a beginning, but it doesn't begin to exist. There is a massive difference between having a beginning and beginning to exist. Beginning to exist is not possible. Nothing begins to exist. Okay, because existence is infinite. So nothing begins to exist because existence is already there. There's nothing to begin. There's no argument about that. Existence is infinite. It's an absolute infinite, or it's an infinite absolute. No, it's an absolute infinite. But nevertheless, existence, energy, is. Period. Never wasn't. Never won't be. Always is. I think that's as simple as I could put it there.
Of reality, because remember, the more we understand about reality, we don't have to go back and re-understand it. We are adding to our collective knowledge, and the more we add to it, the less there is to learn. And eventually, we will understand it. And if there does happen to be some deity being at the beginning of it, then so be it. But it's irrational to assume that there is just because you want there to be one, or because it makes you feel better about the seeming lack of purpose of your life in the face of the cosmos, or because you need something to give you that drive. These are appeals to emotion, like I stated in my intro.
Yeah, I think you didn't understand what I quoted from Stephen Meyer, but I can say it in other words. Imagine an event that would occur in the future. Let's say Real Madrid would win the soccer game against Barcelona at 2-0. If this game would be occurring 100 or 1,000 years from now, we would know after that finite period of time that's, that soccer game would actualize and occur. But if we imagine that it would occur at an infinite period of time from now, then that game would never actualize, because no matter how many years from now, it would always be an infinite period of time ahead. That period would never actualize. If we imagine that the soccer game mentioned above would occur right now, then this moment is the future of the past. In order to actualize, the past cannot be infinite, but must be finite. Otherwise, the soccer game would never actualize. So that states the problem again. You cannot start from an infinite period of time back to actualize that present moment in time now.
Seriously, this is the best? This is the best that Otangelo can come up with, is just to read nonsense from the internet and quote irrelevant scientists from the 1950s. It's the best that he can come up with. I'm disappointed in Otangelo. No, actually, I kind of expected Otangelo to bring the same "God exists, therefore God exists" argument. So far, that's what he's brought to the table.
Unless, of course, the end of the previous one begets the beginning of the next one.
Right.
Like some sort of, because we've never observed the universe in a state of thermal equilibrium. We never have. So we don't know that the laws of physics will even uphold at that point. So yeah, there are hypotheses that there could be some quantum event that triggers that in the event of thermal equilibrium, where the universe, where the work potential is zero, that some quantum event may occur that triggers the expansion of the next universe, or maybe the same one. Who knows? Like I said, these are hypotheses, and what you basically stated right there was just a reverse of Xenu's arrow. And I'm certain you're familiar with that, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Xenu's arrow, was it Xenu? No, but anyway, the arrow paradox. In essence, an arrow when an arrow flies, it has to get from point A to point B, but it must cross an infinite number of half distances before it gets to B. But it still gets to B, is the problem.
Yeah, if you start to make mathematical equations with infinity, then you get absurd numbers. So
exactly. So we look at this. We look at what we have, and we don't make assertions about things that we can't possibly know right now.
Right.
So it literally comes down to an appeal to emotion. That's something that you want to be true, which is fine. You can want that to be true, but there's no evidence to support it. There's just there's just hypotheses and probabilities that we really have no basis to say that there's odds of anything with a sample size of one, or these grand assumptions about the nature of the universe and the nature of life in and of itself. You want life to have a purpose. You want there to be a reason that we are here. You want there to be a specific agential cause for why we're able to look up at the stars and wonder why, and no other species on this planet observably doesn't. I get that. I understand that. But it does not make your God true. It simply doesn't.
All right. Last question before we get on to a little bit more, or the next section. What was God doing before he created the universe, and why did he do so? Was she lonely?
No, I think he was listening to his heavenly orchestra of angels.
Hold on a sec. What did he say? Okay, the question was, what was God doing before he created the universe? And what did Otangelo say? Because I didn't get it. I'm gonna rewind this. Since I think he said something weird and creepy. Let's see what happens here.
Exactly. So we look at this. We look at what we have, and we don't make assertions about things that we can't possibly know right now.
Right.
So it literally comes down to an appeal to emotion. That somebody
up to this point, Otangelo is weak. He's presented nothing. He's been debunked on every point. J.L. Warren has been on point. And this is not turning out well for Otangelo and the Christians. Because I want to hear what he said that was so fucked up.
But that was something that you want to be true, which is fine. You can want that to be true, but there's no evidence to support it. There's just there's just hypotheses and probabilities that we really have no basis to say that there's odds of anything with a sample size of 1, or these grand assumptions about the nature of the universe and the nature of life in and of itself. You want life to have a purpose. You want there to be a reason that we are here. You want there to be a specific agential cause for why we're able to look up the stars and wonder why, and no other species on this planet observably doesn't. I get that. I understand that. But it does not make your God true. It simply doesn't.
All right. Last question before we get on to a little bit more, or the next section. What was God doing before he created the universe, and why did he?
Okay, what was God doing before he created the universe? Okay. What was God doing? It's a two-part question, it looks like. What was God doing before he created the universe? Okay. Sorry for doing this, but I want to get it clear in my head.
Okay. Why, and no other species on this planet observably doesn't. I get that. I understand that. But it does not make your God true.
There you go. I can hear that. I can listen to that over and over again.
Last question before we get on to a little bit more, or the next section. What was God doing before he created the universe, and why did he do so? Was he, she lonely?
Lonely.
No, I think he was listening to his heavenly orchestra of angels.
I think he was listening to his heavenly orchestra of angels. Is that what he said?
It simply doesn't.
Oh, sorry.
All right. Last question before we get on to
I won't play it again. I just need to hear
the
him
next
say
section.
One more time. Just
what
to be
was
sure.
God doing before he created the universe, and why did he do so? Was he, she lonely?
No, I think he was listening to his heavenly orchestra of angels.
Okay,
that's it. That's all we got.
Johnny,
I'm actually really curious. I'm actually really curious because I kind of to piggyback off of that. So the Earth is like the Earth is 4.3. Was it 4.35 billion years old?
Okay, hold on a second. If God was listening to his heavenly orchestra of angels, then it's the angels that said, "Hey, God, time to create the universe. Time to transition from our nothingness to somethingness." God had no say in the matter. It was a community decision by an orchestra of angels. Okay, as we destroy the doctrines of Christianity, let's continue.
And human beings have only occupied the last quarter, Homo sapiens have only occupied the last 250,000 years. So why create a 4.35 billion, why create this 4 billion year old planet and only have life capable in like the last 3 billion of it, complex life only the last 500 million years, and then waste 165 million years on the dinosaurs to have human being. And then someone said, you know what? I got it. Humans this time. 250,000 years we have like that. Just as the wind, cosmologically speaking, just as the window of survivability on this planet is beginning to close. Why? Maybe you can answer that because if we're a result of natural processes, this is fine. That we understand this. But why would a God do this if we are this important?
I really like that, and I think we are on the same page, G.L. Warren, and I think it is a completely nonsensical proposition to think that God would create the Earth 4.5 billion years ago, and then wait over 3 billion years to start actually with the Cambrian explosion to make biodiversity and complex organisms. So that's why I think young Earth creationism is much more reasonable.
What a dumbass! I have never. Nah, come on. That wasn't Otangelo. You didn't say that. Otangelo, tell me you didn't say that. Don't make me repeat what you just said. Fuck! I'm gonna have to repeat what he just said.
why would a God do this if we are this important?
I really like that, and I think we are on the same page, T.L. Warren, and I think it is a completely nonsensical proposition to think that God would create the Earth for 4.5 billion years ago, and then wait over 3 billion years to start actually with the Cambrian explosion to make biodiversity and complex organisms. So that's why I think young Earth creationism is much more reasonable.
So why would God create
500 years ago?
Yeah. So why would God create an Earth 6,000 years ago and make it look like it was 4.35 billion?
Oh, I will ask him when I'm in heaven. I don't know.
So he at least acknowledges that Earth the planet Earth does look like it's 4.6 billion years old. But we are being fooled by God because it was just created 6,000 or 10,000 years ago. So let's say 6,000 years ago. They're like 6,000. So that's the answer to all the geological and natural science evidence that we have been collecting for the last number of eons throughout our historical journey through human beingdom. Then you hit this guy Otangelo. Look at him. He's totally smug with that answer. I'll ask God when I see him why he made us believe, why he sent us data to conclude that the Earth was 4.5 billion years old when it was just 6,000 years old. I'm going to ask you when I see him. I'll ask God that myself when I get to heaven. I say, hey God, good work. You fooled them. You fooled me. Now I knew it was 6,000 years old, but the non-believers, you got him. You got him good, buddy. This is what Otangelo kind of expects when these dismal days of desperate debating come to an end. Let's carry on.
Aha. Okay.
All right.
Let's see. I'm just scanning.
Where do you go from there?
I think we're good. So we're going to take this time now, JL, if you would like to take 5 minutes for your closing statement.
We have closings.
1 second.
This is going to be interesting. I suspect.
That's too much me.
It's too much me.
Whenever you are ready, you may begin.
Thank you. Well, while we cannot make a final determination on whether or not any God exists, as the conversation ultimately comes down to what the person wants to believe, it is important to make the distinction between which is more important, what you want to be true or what actually is true. Now, I know that of the two positions, the atheist position, and I believe I've demonstrated the atheist position is the more intellectually honest one to hold. In regards to the Christian triune God, given the dearth of evidence, a universe we observe that contradicts the very asserted nature of the God, the logical contradictions implied by its own existence, the lack of explanatory power of such a being, violations of the fundamental laws of reality, special pleading, magical thinking, begging the question, and it must be said, the sheer narcissistic arrogance it takes to believe that oneself is the center of the universe. It has been established that this belief in a being that most assuredly possesses the qualia of non-existence is wholly justified. And while this certainly does not defeat any deist position, I believe it is quite clear that the points I defined earlier are indeed the stone that the Christian triune God cannot lift. And yes, while absence of evidence is not evidence of absence, it does hold the same logical value as non-existence until such a being deigns to reveal itself. Until that day occurs, though, humanity must let go of what they want, hope, or desire to be true and embrace what factually is. Thank you.
All righty. And now, Otangelo, you have 5 minutes when you are ready.
Yes. Contrary to what J.L. Warren said, that the theistic position is based on lack of knowledge or gaps on understanding, I think that it is solidly based on positive evidence, which disproves the claim. and accusation that our position is based on gaps of knowledge. And I want to list here 21 reasons why I think that theism is positively evidenced. Following is a list of positive evidence of God's existence, not depending on gaps or lack of knowledge. 1, existence of the universe. The universe had a beginning, therefore a cause. 2, the universe obeys laws and rules of mathematics and physics. Its implementation depends on the action of an intelligent, rational agency. 3, the physical universe and the laws of physics are interdependent and irreducible. There would not be one without the other. 4, fine-tuning. The fundamental physical constants, the universe and the earth, are finely tuned for life. Over 140 constants must be just right. 5, formation of life. Life comes only from life. Abiogenesis has never been demonstrated to be possible despite over half a century of intensive scientific research. 6, cells are literally factories. Biological cells are an industrial park of millions of interconnected complex factories, full of machines, and factories are always designed. 7, a minimal free-living cell requires at least 1,300 proteins with an average size of about 400 amino acids. That requires to select one out of 10 to the 722,000 power of attempts to get the right proteome. 8, irreducible complexity. Biological cells require a minimal number of parts which have no use by themselves and would never accumulate on a prebiotic Earth. 9, the appearance of design. The universe and biological systems appear designed. Therefore, most probably they are designed. 10, codified information. DNA has the highest storage density known and stores the blueprint of life. Blueprints can always be traced back to intelligence. 11, the fossil record. The fossil record, and in special the Cambrian explosion, demonstrates the sudden appearance of life forms without intermediates. 12, consciousness and language. Conscience, mental reality, language, logic, free will, moral values are immaterial entities and cannot emerge from physical matter. 13, objective moral values exist. They are ought-to-be's imprinted in our conscience. 14, human objective logic depends and can only derive from a pre-existing necessary first mind with objective logic. 15, theology and philosophy. Both lead to an eternal, self-existent, omnipresent, transcendent, conscious, intelligent, personal, and moral creator. 16, the Bible. The Old Testament is a catalogue of fulfilled prophecies of Jesus Christ and his mission, death, and resurrection foretold with specificity. 17, archaeology. Demonstrates that all events described in the Bible are historical facts. 18, history. Historical evidence reveals that Jesus Christ really did come to this earth and really did physically rise from the dead. 19, the Bible's witnesses. There are many testimonies of Jesus doing miracles even still today, and Jesus appearing to people all over the globe still today. 20, end times. The signs of the end times that were foretold in the Bible are occurring in front of our eyes. New world order, Israel as a nation, microchip implant, etc. 21, afterlife experiences. Credible witnesses have seen the afterlife and have come back and reported to us that the afterlife is real. So this is my closing remark.
What? What did we just hear there? 21 bullshit reasons for believing in God. Literally, bullshit, childish reasons that kids in the sandbox in kindergarten throw at each other. And this is a, well past middle-aged man with these notions of childishness. Every single one of his points is wishful thinking. That's it, nothing else. Wishful thinking, and he doesn't look too confident, if you ask me. He's just read 21 points which supports his his assertions, and he does not look very confident. I mean, if you read 21 points that are strong and have merit, and you've just done, you'd sit back and say, "There you go. That's my presentation," and it kicks yours out of the ballpark. Now, does this man look like he's just presented something that he is confident with? My fellow YouTube watchers, I say no. This man has no confidence whatsoever in what he has claimed. I'm not sure who that the fuck was. Maybe we'll make that a new character on the Sydney Winston channel. Carry on there, buddy.
All right, let's get JL back in here. Let me take you off full screen. Awesome. There we are. I got to say, Otangelo, I didn't think you were going to be able to get 21 points in there in 5 minutes, but you managed to do it with 30 seconds to spare. So I applaud you on that. Personally, I would like to thank both of the interlocutors for showing today. Otangelo, it took immense courage to stand up to the bully that is Darth Dawkins, to show up to this debate, and I appreciate you holding to your convictions and keeping your word. That means a lot to me. I know it may not mean so much me saying that to you, but again, I wanted to thank you for showing. I do appreciate it. Now let's get on to the old super chats to make sure I did not miss any of the questions. I think I got them all, especially ones that came through via super chat, but just in case, we'll see what we got going on here. All right, let me get this going. All right, so Raw Parks, I said that one earlier, read that one earlier, probably won't make it through the entire thing, but here is my tie to the Church of Johnny. Thank you very much. Irish Demon for 449 Aussie says, super chats make the earth more spherical. Rob Parks for 5 US. Otangelo isn't proving the existence of God without doubt antithetical to the basis of Christianity, which is faith. I did get that one there. The Logical Hillbilly for 5 says, I'm not going to assume Otangelo's religion, so which God is he actually arguing for? I believe I got that one as well. Rob Parks for another 5. JL, is human logic infallible? And if yes, what gives it that quality? And if no, then what gives it its authority? We got that one as well. Facty.
I have a real quick question. Otangelo, can I ask you real fast? You're not a flat earther, are you? I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just curious because the reason I ask is because I've engaged with a lot of biblical flat earthers that take the Bible directly literally, whichever version they're reading, and they'll quote like from Acts, Judges, First Timothy, the particular cherry picked lines that they say support their flat Earth notion or the proposition the Earth is flat. But I never heard you bring it up. I don't think you are you?
No.
Okay, yeah, I didn't think that you were, so that's fine. I'm kind of curious because I know you're a young Earth creationist, so you'll accept the science that the Earth is spherical, because that's pretty much we can demonstrate it. But the same goes for the age of the Earth. I'm
better
just kind of curious
between them here because you never
that's a strange break in epistemology.
That's a topic.
It's a conversation for another time. But I was just curious. It was for my own edification. That was all. So just throw it out there. But continue on, Johnny.
All right. So Facty for 2.
Let me answer to that. I am sure that if I search a little bit, I will also find flat earthers which are who are atheists. So
I've never met one. I've literally, for years I've been involved in this. I've never met an atheist flat earther. I don't
think you're ever going to meet an atheist.
If there are flat earthers, I think they are not representative for Christianity or.
It's because now they're just rambling on. All right. Thank you, Otangelo. Thank you, JL. Thank you, Johnny O. The plot hole 1 looks like if he has Johnny O has a Patreon. The plot hole 1, the number 1. So if you want to support somebody who just does an excellent job at moderating, Johnny O's the guy. Now, as I said before, we are, let me just set this up here. Okay, that's good there. Okay, so we are actually in the chat room. which I'm going to get rid of this and that. Okay, so as you can tell, cha-ching, right, we're in our chat room, and this is the time, is the opportunity for whoever wants to join to talk about what we've just listened to, watched, or anything else, to do so. I'm going to go to my favorite scene, which is this one here, this one over here, because this is where the real live people are. So anyone of you fine people want to come on in, please do. The room is open. Always has been. The links are in the description. The links are on the pinned to the top of your chat. We have been running for 40, just coming up to 45 minutes. If you want to have a 15-minute chat or an hour chat in a conversation room, now's the time to join. Because if not, then this is going to be the end of this segment, of this episode. I have some, as you know, if you've been following along, I have some other stuff lined up. Of course, I'm still going to call out the Catholics. I'm still going to be presenting deconversion stories. And I'm listening to some very, very interesting podcasts right now. Two in particular. One is the History in the Bible, and the other one is, I can't remember what it's called, but I'm listening, three of them, because there's the History of the Papacy, which I've been listening to for the second time. This is brilliant information about how Christianity began. So I was thinking about actually looking for an apt episode to listen to and talk about, perhaps. So these are the things that are on my mind. If there's anything on your mind, I do invite you to enter into the conversation room. Hey, there's Dog. Hey, Dog. Oh, I think he left. No, he's there. Hello? No, he did leave. No, he's back.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing, Sidney?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for coming in.
That's all right, mate.
What say you as comment?
Otangelo just wants to be Darth Dawkins. He was reading a script.
Many scripts, yeah.
His 5-minute outro was basically Darth Dawkins, what he says.
Yeah, I actually would like to go through that 21-point outro one day that he read.
Well, it just went from bad to
worse,
stupid nonsense.
But it can be used to bolster the argument of any Christian, Christian whatsoever.
Well, as was said in the chat earlier, it's forbidden to eat from the tree of knowledge. So you're not allowed to have wisdom or knowledge.
Yeah, but that's from a book of fantasy, which we need to smack their heads, slap them around a bit, so that they can understand that reality actually is reality. There's no getting away from it, and that seems to be all they try and do.
That was also one of his points. near the end when he said, the Old Testament is the fulfilled prophecy of Jesus, when there's no mention of Jesus in the Old Testament. In the book of Daniel, it's meant, which is more prophetic nonsense.
Yes.
It's mentioned of a Messiah.
Did you know that the book of Daniel was written was actually written at a later stage than people think? It was actually inserted later.
Absolutely. It's so it would coincide with some of the things that did happen. Maybe a localized flood did happen. So, not a world flood that warranted a super yacht full of animals, but maybe because a lot of religions go with of that area, Middle East type area, go with a localized flood or a flood in their doctrine.
Yeah.
But Otangelo, we've had a few run-ins with him. You know, he talks of a finely tuned universe and things like that. It's just
nonsense.
He reads into science and just puts his own thoughts on it. Just changes the narrative to suit him, which is dishonest. Really, it's lies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But this is it. Does he know this, and he's just doing it just to be somebody in this world, or is he?
I think he's scared.
An actual idiot.
I think he's an actual idiot, and he's very scared. He's scared of dying. He's scared of this hell. He's scared of all these things that people have told him in his life. He's scared.
See, I also want to know God's orchestra of angels told him to create the universe.
Yeah. So I thought they all say that God is the one who makes all these decisions.
Well, where did the angels come from?
Exactly. All of a sudden, there's this angel story. I've never heard that before.
In this nonsense.
Have you ever heard that story before? That before God created the universe, his orchestra of angels were advising him. Have you ever in your life heard that before?
No.
Me neither. Me neither. That was the answer to these.
Nor have I heard tangible evidence that there's witnesses to Jesus all over the. I know there's over 2,000 people who believe they're Jesus living today. Obviously, they all own cults and big houses and flash cars.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. They're just in it for the money. They're just in it for the cash. A lot of them are in Australia, believe it or not.
Australia? What the hell would they want to...
all over the world, there's people who... Yeah, they've got a number of them.
Well, they just follow the weather, I guess. And Australia's nice and
say
free.
They're Jesus, reincarnated Jesus.
Yeah.
Obviously, most of them are in America.
Yeah.
Because they're Christian mad out there, but...
You know what? They're Christian mad.
Sorry, Sid.
They're Christian mad, but they'll only preach on the California West Coast or the Florida coasts. Where it's nice and warm outside for street preaching. That's all. That's what they do. That's their big thing. That's what Mr. Batman was once talking about doing that. Moving to some beachfront area in, I don't know, South Carolina or somewhere. Do some street preaching where it's warm. Oh, there we go. Boy, this is slow. It's happening though. There we go. Let's see if it works. Causing some bottlenecks, I think, the video part of it. Ah, there we go. So it just seems like feeding feeding all this stuff through this Jitsi meat room is causing some lag. I don't hear anything from anyone. Okay, I'm going to try and turn off my camera. See if it'll save resources. I've been disconnected. What a bummer. Reconnecting in 14 seconds. I may want to check my network connection. That does seem to be alright, doesn't it? Yeah. Alright, let's see. So, if I can join the meeting, I might not be able to. You never know. It's exciting, isn't it? Learning how resource hungry Jitsi seems to be. Although I will say this, it's the only there we go. It's the only platform that allows unlimited people in there, or up to 100 people. There's no time limit. It's pretty much, you know, the audio video is pretty nice. Oh, okay, let me try deactivating that. And let me get back to this here. And try that. Slow, slow, slow. Okay, so this is the, yeah, all right. So I'm back in the meat room, I do believe. I hope that's the same one. Did kick to me? Yeah, it kicked me too. I think there was a hiccup. So I'm going to, in order to just double check that we have the right link, I'm going to repost the link, all right? Man, such a slow response. Could be my hardware, but see, you expect the response to be, you know, click and there it is. Well, click and there we go, like literally 10 seconds later. Copy link. All right. Here it is, my friends. Here it is. Literally, it's 10 seconds. When I click a field, and you know how you click a field and you wait for your cursor to blink? Click a field, nothing happens for 10 seconds, and then the cursor blinks. Blink, 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 blink. Now, I don't know if that's the right one, but if not, I'm going to repin this one to the top. So, I'm sorry that you were kicked out, dog. But I was kicked out too. But I can't apologize to myself. Incredibly slow. I'm actually surprised if there's anyone still watching, because this is the most boring thing that I've ever had to participate in. Can't even get this thing. I'm trying to post. I'm trying to pin. I'm trying to pin the conversation room message to the top of the. Yeah, let me show you. That just looks horrible. Look, what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to pin the meeting, which is down here. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but anyway, at the bottom, I'm trying to pin that to the top, and as you can see, it hasn't happened yet, although I have changed the link. Oh. Let's see. See, I've pressed the replace, and now we wait and 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 wait. And is somebody counting? Is somebody doing a timing how long this is taking? Because at the top it says VUFK, right? And that should change, because that's the old one. It's youtube.com/VUFK. Message pinned. Really? Really? It says message pinned. Ah, you see, there we go. It's changed. Look, did you see how long that took? Look, 30 seconds. That's the right one. Unbelievable. All right, so let me see what I can do about making this a little bit more user-friendly. All right, user-friendly. What do you mean? Oh, right. There we go. Okay. I think I'm getting a handle on this right now. So if I do that, how about I just do that? There we go. There we go. So let me get back to the chat. All right, I do appreciate you guys hanging around. Update. Chat conversation room is open. Link is pinned to the top. The lag is significant. We are in a time warp of slowness, the like of which has never been experienced before. So this is a historic moment in the history of Science. Or in the history of my very old hardware, just not cutting it anymore. Just unbelievable. I'm trying to type in, as you can see, I'm trying to type a message in the chat, and just look how long it's taking. In fact, the actual feed is frozen right now. That's how ridiculous this is. Such lag. So I'm just going to write such lag, and then I'll post it. There you go. Oh, see, I posted it. It hasn't even appeared yet. There it is. 10 seconds, right? Or 20 seconds even. There's a serious lag here. And I can only attribute it to my resources. So let's see my resources. What's going on? Look at that. You can't even. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Yes, I see that. I absolutely see that. So about a minute ago, I opened my task manager, and it still hasn't opened. You know what I do? I'm gonna start closing windows. Let's see what happens. Task manager still hasn't opened. Just crazy. Try it again. This is just nuts. Here's my task manager opening right now. When did I press it? 60 seconds ago? And then when I pressed it twice, so it's probably going to open up another instance in another 60 seconds. Okay, well, this was meant to be a conversation, but I'm having some serious laggy, schmaggy, waggy issues here. And I fear that I'm gonna get just frozen. Oh, there we go. There's something. There's the task manager. And it's telling me that nothing's overloaded. The link just puts me in a room on my own. The very top link, which starts moderated /393, DE something. DE5C. DE5C, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, this lag is starting to really become a bit of a problem. A big problem. See? Yeah, this is just, God is tampering with my internet. Fucking God. I've never actually experienced this long of lag. Literally, yeah. I know. Oh well. I feel as if you remember those days when you got your computer and it took forever to do anything? But once it was, once everything had loaded and everything was all ready, you forgot about the wait. Remember those days? Well, I'm having a flashback here. Reboot, start another stream. Wow, look at the lag behind there. I have been disconnected. All right. This is nonsense. This has got to go. Man, this is crazy. It's not the router. It's just nonsense. He's gonna shut the whole fucking thing down. There we go. I'm just watching. All right, this is just a mess. I'm gonna shut it down. Thank you so much for watching. We are done for the day.